Good morning, my friends. It's been a while since I've done a long form episode here on the podcast and on YouTube, but it's good to see you. I'm Marshall Burtcher, and I help codependents discover their happiness and peace, and healthy relationships and purpose after codependency. Today, I want to touch on compass. So, if you've been watching my shorts, you've been watching on YouTube or watching the TikTok, you've been noticing or reading my emails, I've been talking about an internal compass. The reason why I'm focused on this right now is because it's a gap I've noticed that a lot of my students have, that I have had in my life, and I want to fill that gap. So what do I mean by internal compass? Well, in codependency, we have what's called external orientation, meaning we are governing and directing ourselves based on external conditions, ideally and usually what other people think. What will regulate them, what will avoid conflict, what will raise the possibility of connection or approval, feeling like we belong, feeling like we have safety, feeling like we have worth. So it always comes back to those three necessities of safety, worth, and belonging. It's all about managing the external so that internally we have some sense of power, some sense of safety, and again, belonging and worth. That means the compass is outside ourselves. It's other people's approval, their disapproval, it's their preferences, it's their opinions, it's about what conditions are and what they're doing. It's really not about an attunement to ourselves, an attunement to who we are, to what matters to us, to what we genuinely need and genuinely desire in our world, and how those things actually work. Instead, we tend to displace those and bring in other people's priorities, needs, and wants, perspectives, and then try to conform to those and work in a way that satisfies them, hoping that it will help and satisfy us. And that leads us to feeling extremely lost, confused, frustrated, and ultimately empty in our own life because we are not following what brings us a sense of satisfaction, peace, success, or surprise in our world. We're doing what other people want. That's why we need our internal compass back. Because if we're to find the purpose that fulfills, if we're to find relationships that nurture and satisfy, if we're to find the peace that we seek inside ourselves so that we can respond to the world effectively, we must find and then follow our internal compass. So the internal compass in my work is comprised of three components. We have what's called the fundamental director, then we have guiding principles, and then we have intuitive nudges. These are all internal impulses, sensations, and awarenesses within us. That's an internal intelligence that we have access to at all times. Now, I'm going to go through each of these real quick here. So the fundamental director is the yes-no impulse in us. It's the one that says, that's the thing I want. Nope, that's not what I want. And it's a knowing sense. It's an intuitive sense of knowing. It's an impulse within our awareness that comes from within us, and it's responding to people, places, and things around us. Guiding principles are values that protect and promote our well-being, our safety, our peace of mind, our happiness. They're not things that we explicitly choose just by looking at a piece of paper with values on it. It's actually things that our experiences point us to. So if you have patterns of relationships where they're frustrating, there is a value not being met in that. That's what creates the frustration. What is that value? Is it integrity? Is it accountability? Is it being seen? Is it feeling safe? Is it all of those? So we can look at our real life experiences and patterns and from there derive what is needed. What is the real value we're seeking in that for ourselves? So we can determine our values from the patterns we have in our lives. And then when we know what those are, we can then choose people, places, and things that align with that through their own behavior. So when we have our fundamental director plus our guiding principles, we start getting clarity about what aligns for us and what doesn't. And then we have intuitive nudges. Intuitive nudges fall again into the internal spectrum of sensing, yeses and nos, but it also comes up with inspiration, impressions. Try this out. Do this thing. Say no to that. And these are often very real-time things. They're very creative and open. They're playful. And they're not there to make something happen. They're part of our exploration of life, because fundamentally, we're all explorers of reality. We're not here to, we're not born just knowing things, right? There's things to discover, there's things to understand. And so that fundamental nature of ourselves shows up through this intuitive nudging that we have. It's where our creative expression and inspiration come from. When we combine all of these three together, we start having a very clear compass, a director that helps us understand where things fit for us and where they don't. And we start getting really clear yeses and nos about relationship options, about work, career, direction, about what to invest our time and energy in, because internally we are directing ourselves. We are sensed into what matters to us, and we start to know how those things feel, how those things act, and how they demonstrate themselves out here in our material experience, especially when we're looking at people, places, and things that are compatible or incompatible with ourselves. When we know what our fundamental director, our internal guiding principles are, and our intuitive nudges are, we are going to be able to recognize this in others as well. That's going to help us find symmetry, compatibility, especially in the guiding principles component, because that's where you're going to find the compatibility components for like your lifestyle, life stage, what really fundamentally matters to your sense of well-being and sense of satisfaction in a relationship. Someone else who shares those same things and expresses them in similar, even the same ways, you're going to find a lot of resonance with, and that builds a really solid foundation for a long-term relationship. So it's our internal compass that we need to first detect or attune to, and then build loyalty in following that internal compass. When we do not have loyalty to it, we can have awareness of it, but if we don't build trust in it and we don't follow it despite the consequence of following it, we will continue to cycle in the patterns that cause us a lot of pain and frustration in our world. And this is why I've developed the course called Compass. Compass starts September 21st. It's a Sunday. We start at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. It's 8 weeks long. And I'm going to take you through attuning to yourself so that you can then tune into your fundamental director and how it shows up for you, your internal guiding principles, and those intuitive nudges, and then build loyalty to those so that you start seeing the significant changes you want and deserve in your world. Because it's all going to come from there. So my work, we start off with foundation. That's where we establish the essential safety, belonging, and real independent self-worth. And on top of that, we place the compass so that now we have clarity and direction for ourselves. And then we can build out relationships, purpose, and prosperity in our world. So my friends, come join me, my other students, and let's discover your internal compass together. Let's get you course corrected in your life so you know what to say yes and no to in your relationships, and your purpose, and your prosperity. And you can start experiencing real-time fulfillment and satisfaction in your world, as well as mitigating pain and frustration. So to join us, you can check the description below if you're on YouTube, or you can go to healyourcodependency.com if you're listening via the podcast. And we can do this together. So, got any questions? Let me know in the comments below, or reach out to me at healyourcodependency.com. I'm excited to be a part of this journey for you in discovering your compass so that you can gain the clarity you want, the direction you want, and ultimately the peace of mind and success you deserve. So, I'll see you there, and I will see you guys again in our next episode. Go gently. See you soon. Hey, thank you for listening to today's episode. Are you looking for additional guidance in how to exit your codependency and create a life that's satisfying for you? If so, come join me in my email community. You can do that by going to join.freetheself.com or checking the description below and clicking the link there to join that community. You will receive more mentorship and guidance from me on how to navigate the 3 phases of thriving beyond codependency, those phases being survival, healing, and creation. as well as opportunities to join my courses, workshops, and other trainings that I offer throughout the year. So come join us there, and I will see you in our email community. Bye-bye.